American Ninja sells survival more than spectacle, following a quiet soldier who moves through the world without explanation, hiding behind a mask that erases who he is while enemies fall away like obstacles instead of people. What starts as a simple 1980s ninja fantasy slowly reveals itself as something closer to a stripped-down war myth, where the space keeps tightening and the only question left is whether you are still standing when the fight finally ends. Behind the headband and the synth confidence, nothing was ever locked. The role shifted at the last moment, one name slipping out of frame. The shoot moved too fast to fake the damage, leaving no room for second chances. And when it worked, the movie didn't just succeed, it multiplied, drifting further from the raw spark that made the first strike hit so hard. These are 10 weird facts about American Ninja, the VHS legend that wasn't meant to survive and accidentally taught an entire decade what a ninja was supposed to be. Number 1. Canon thought they were building the safest kind of 1980s hit. Take their biggest action face, wrap him in a clean, simple story, and let the VHS boom do the rest. In that first version, Joe Armstrong was not supposed to be a mystery. He was supposed to be a billboard, a role that exists to say, "This is Chuck Norris," and let the audience relax into certainty. Then the concept betrayed the plan, because Joe Armstrong was a ninja, and a ninja is the worst possible job description for a star whose brand is recognition. Masks, hoods, a covered face during combat, long stretches where the hero becomes a silhouette instead of a personality. That is not how a Norris movie sells. You do not pay to watch him vanish behind black fabric. So the original anchor quietly walked away, and Canon lost the one thing that makes their formula feel automatic. Now the pressure flips. The project is still alive, the clock is still running, and the studio has to solve a problem it did not want. If the hero has to be hidden, the lead cannot survive on fame. He has to survive on presence, on the ability to hold the frame even when the movie is refusing to show his face the way most stars demand. That is how Michael Dudikoff enters the story, not as a first choice, as the consequence. A gamble Canon did not plan to take, forced by the very idea they were trying to sell. And once he is in, the tone changes immediately. Instead of another loud, familiar power fantasy, the film starts moving with a colder kind of confidence. Fewer winks, less swagger. A main character who feels like he is carrying something sealed off. Here is the twist Canon never predicted. Losing Chuck Norris did not weaken the movie, it rewired it. Because the moment the mask stopped being a marketing trick and became the whole identity, the film accidentally created the one thing Canon could never manufacture on purpose: a new action star, born out of a role that was designed for someone else. Number 2. Dudikoff walks into American Ninja with exactly the aura Canon wanted. Quiet confidence. A guy who doesn't talk big, because he doesn't need to. And the truth is, that confidence was a costume. Michael Dudikoff didn't know how to fight. No martial arts history, no dojo years. Nothing he could fall back on when the camera moved in close. And this movie didn't hide him with soft angles or friendly choreography. It put him in the worst possible place to fake it, right in the daylight, right in your face, with every move exposed. Once production hit the Philippines, there wasn't time to grow into it. The schedule was already running. The fights were already coming. So Dudikoff learned the only way he could. Not like a martial artist building a lifetime, like a man trying to survive the next shot. He memorized the sequences, drilled the beats that mattered, and repeated them until his body stopped hesitating and started reacting. That process quietly shaped the character. Joe Armstrong already plays like a man with missing history, someone dangerous who does not explain himself. Dudikoff's real situation matched that energy. He was not showing off mastery. He was trying to stay clean, controlled, and precise while learning the role in real time. The stiffness you might expect never shows up as fear. It shows up as restraint, like the character is holding something back until the moment demands it. And the audience bought it completely. People walked out believing they had just met a new action star who had been trained for this world. The truth was the opposite. The franchise was built on a performance that was assembled under pressure, one fight at a time, with the camera rolling and no room to hesitate. Number 3. American Ninja doesn't dance through action. It slams into it. You can feel the weight in the hits, the rush in the timing, and that slightly dangerous edge that shows up when a movie can't afford softness. That's Canon Films in survival mode. No digital padding, no clean little safety trick waiting in post. If someone gets thrown, the ground is the ground. If something detonates, it's close enough that the flinch isn't acting, it's reflex. And with a schedule built around speed and scarcity, the action couldn't be perfected. It had to be captured before the day fell apart. The fights were shaped by Mike Stone, a respected martial artist and choreographer, but his real job here wasn't elegance. It was control under pressure. Build combat that reads fast, reads clear, and can survive real locations, limited repeated resets, and a crew that needs the shot to work now, not after 10 graceful rehearsals. You can hear that in the rhythm of the violence. The sword work is direct and mean, not showy. The impacts come in tight, and the camera doesn't soothe them. The movie isn't trying to impress you with beauty. It's trying to get through the scene without something going wrong that stops the whole production cold. And that pressure didn't stay with the stunt team. It followed the lead actor into the frame. Michael Dudikoff wasn't doing circus falls, but he didn't vanish behind doubles either. He stayed present for the fights, took the physical beats, and worked the choreography until it stopped looking performed and started looking like instinct. That matters, because you can sense when a star is protected. Here, the hero doesn't float through danger. He takes it, absorbs it, and keeps moving. That's why the action still feels rough in the best way. Not because the script is darker, because the production treated every fight like a shot they couldn't afford to lose, and the camera recorded the cost. Number 4. Canon picked the Philippines for the same reason it picked everything in the 1980s. Cheap, fast, and it looks expensive on screen. Palm trees, military locations, wide open space, local crews. On paper, it's the perfect hack. In real life, it turns the movie into an endurance test. Heat and humidity didn't set a mood. They attacked the schedule. Costumes turned heavy. Grip gear got slick. People ran out of dry shirts before they ran out of scenes. Then the rain hit, the kind that doesn't politely sprinkle. It collapses the day in minutes. You can hear a plan working, and then you can hear it die, because the location decides you're done. And once you're that far from a controlled backlot, every small failure becomes a real emergency. Something breaks, and there's no quick replacement rolling in. A delay doesn't feel like we'll pick it up tomorrow. It feels like the whole shoot sliding backward while the clock keeps charging rent. So the crew adapts the only way a Canon shoot knows how. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You don't pause for comfort. You rebuild the day on the fly and keep the camera moving anyway. That's why the locations in American Ninja don't feel staged. They feel lived in, sweaty, and slightly unstable. Like anything could go wrong because it probably did. And the wild part is, all of that strain helped the movie. The world looks harsh because the production had to fight the world to get the footage. But the next surprise is even cleaner, because the deadliest thing in the film wasn't the weather or the schedule or the location at all. It was the man inside the black outfit. Number 5. The final fight in American Ninja hits with an unfairness you can feel instantly. Joe Armstrong looks capable, but the Black Star Ninja looks like he's not in the scene. He's controlling it. That isn't a performance choice. It's the casting. Tadashi Yamashita wasn't a regular actor taught to look dangerous. He was a real martial arts master, and the camera catches it the way it catches gravity. His distance is measured. His timing is quiet. He doesn't waste motion trying to impress you, because he doesn't need your approval to look lethal. Even when he's barely moving, the fight feels like it's already sliding his direction. And that shifts what the climax is really about. Because Dudikoff is still becoming an action lead in real time. He can sell the stare. He can learn the steps. He can hit marks. But he isn't walking in with decades of muscle memory that makes every beat look inevitable. So the tension stops being who has the better choreography and turns into something meaner. A man still building his skills, trying to stay alive against someone who looks like he could end it whenever he decides the lesson is over. And once you clock that imbalance, the next one lands even darker. Canon wanted a whole ninja army, even when they clearly didn't have the bodies to supply it. Number 6. American Ninja doesn't just win fights, it erases people. By the time the credits roll, the on-screen body count is about 114 deaths, which is insane for a lean little B movie that was supposed to be a quick hit and a quick exit. And Canon doesn't spread that carnage out carefully. They stack it. Fast takedowns, quick stabs, ninjas dropping like the movie is trying to prove it has no brakes. But the funniest part is how they pulled it off. They didn't have an army. They had a handful of stuntmen and a wardrobe rack. Because the budget was tight, Canon couldn't afford to keep hiring new masked bodies just to feed the kill count. So they recycled the same performers again and again, swapping suits, switching colors, and throwing them back into the frame like nothing happened. If you watch the big fights closely, you can catch familiar faces under different masks getting killed multiple times across the movie. Not twice, sometimes 3 or 4. It creates this weird Canon illusion where the enemy force feels endless. But the closer you look, the more you realize it's the same small group taking the fall over and over, just repackaged to keep the screen crowded. So the movie ends up with two truths at once. The kill count is massive, and the ninja army is basically a loop. After that, the next move wasn't about the fights at all. It was about the poster, because one word in the title turned this thing from a cheap action tape into a genre promise. Number 7. Before Cannon knew they had a hit, this movie was wearing a title that sounded like every other bargain bin bruiser of the era. American Warrior. Tough, generic, disposable, the kind of name you forget before you even reach the counter. Then someone at Cannon looked at the moment they were living in and realized the mistake. The mid-1980s were drowning in ninja fever. Not just movies, toys, comics, TV, martial arts magazines stacked at every checkout. Ninja wasn't a description anymore. It was a trigger word. It promised masks, mystery, and a specific kind of violence, even if you knew nothing else about the film. So Cannon did the smartest thing they could do without spending another dime on the production. They renamed it American Ninja, and suddenly the movie didn't need explanation. The title did the selling. An American soldier with a secret skill, a foreign battlefield, a hidden past that comes out in combat. You could glance at the VHS spine for half a second and already feel like you knew what you were renting. That one word also did something bigger. It turned the film into a category, not just a story. It made Cannon's product feel like part of the craze, instead of another random action title competing for space. Number 8. Cannon didn't make American Ninja like a prestige swing. They made it like a quick hit, built for impulse. A new face, a simple hook, and a title that basically did the marketing for them. The plan was obvious. Get in, get out. Leave a clean little profit behind. But it did the one thing Cannon respected more than praise. It paid back the risk. On a budget around $1 million, it pulled in roughly $10 million at the box office. The kind of return that changes a studio's body language because it tells you people did not just try it, they came back for it. Then the real takeover began, and it did not happen under a marquee. It happened under fluorescent lights in video stores. This was the exact moment VHS rentals were becoming a weekly habit, and American Ninja fit that ecosystem like a key. The cover promised a fantasy in one glance. The title sealed it in 2 words. You didn't need reviews. You didn't need a pitch. You just needed a free weekend. And once it hit shelves, it stopped behaving like a movie and started behaving like a tape people kept reaching for. Kids grabbed it, older brothers grabbed it again, and that same cassette became the one that was always missing, always checked out, always already sitting in somebody's VCR because they were rewinding the fights like they were training footage. That's how it grew past its budget, not through prestige, through repetition. Number 9. Once American Ninja proved it could sell, Cannon didn't treat it like a one-time win. They treated it like a template. Same core fantasy, same title power, same promise on the cover. So the studio moved exactly how Cannon always moved when something worked. Multiply it. Fast. That is how one lean 1985 hit becomes a full run of American Ninja 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, built to keep the cash register ringing while the ninja craze was still hot. But the franchise didn't stay sharp. It slowly got adjusted. Each new entry tried to reach a slightly bigger crowd, and that usually meant the same thing. Familiar beats, softer edges, a lighter tone creeping in where the first film felt blunt and mean. The action is still there, but the attitude starts changing, like the series is trying to feel safer, friendlier, easier to rent for everyone in the house. That shift becomes impossible to miss by the time American Ninja 5 shows up. It wasn't even born as an American Ninja movie in the first place. It got rebranded to cash in on a name, pushed toward a PG-13 approach, and tilted into a younger, lighter vibe to chase more viewers. On paper, that sounds like growth. On screen, it's the tell. The franchise is no longer protecting the original identity, it's trading it. Cannon built 5 films out of one surprise success, but each sequel pulled a little farther from what made the first tape feel dangerous. Number 10. Nearly 40 years later, American Ninja still delivers the same simple high. A quiet hero, a loud best friend, a masked threat that feels way too real for a cheap action movie. It's the kind of VHS-era fantasy that makes you feel like you're back in a video store aisle again, staring at that cover and already hearing the punches. So, where did the people inside that fantasy end up? For Michael Dudikoff, the surprise was how long the shadow lasted. He became the ninja guy for an entire era, whether he chased that label or not. Later, as the spotlight cooled, he stepped back from acting for long stretches and built a quieter second life outside the industry, the kind of off-screen reset that almost feels in character for Joe Armstrong. He didn't vanish in a scandal, he just stopped running at full speed. Judy Aronson took the cleanest exit of all. After getting a piece of the spotlight, she pivoted away from Hollywood and rebuilt her life life in a completely different lane, putting her energy into business and wellness instead of auditions and sets. It's the kind of move that feels rare in an industry that usually pulls people back in, even when they swear they're done. And then there's Steve James, the one fans still talk about with a different tone. He had the timing, the warmth, the screen presence that makes you think bigger roles were waiting right around the corner. Instead, he died in 1993, only 41 years old, from pancreatic cancer. The franchise didn't just lose a character, it lost its heartbeat, and the loss landed harder because it came right when his momentum should have been turning into something bigger. So when people call American Ninja a simple B-movie, that's the part they miss. For some of the people inside it, the movie was a launch. For others, it was an exit. For one of them, it ended up feeling like the last chapter. That's the legacy of American Ninja. Not a perfect movie, but a moment that hit hard, stuck fast, and let home video turn attitude into immortality. So tell me what you'd bring back from the 80s ninja craze if you could choose just one thing. Drop your pick in the comments and subscribe if you want more deep-cut classics that survived on nerve instead of polish.